Hello everyone and welcome to another PCs and EVs live stream. I've got to continue sharing this in just a couple of spots real quick. But everyone, welcome to another PCs and EVs live stream. Let's see. Miranda! Hello! Ah, man. I am tired. Hello, Eric. Hello, Subside. Alright. So this is actually the PC we built yesterday. I've just got to finish getting Windows on it. Make sure it's all the way up to date. I just finished taking some really nice looking photography of it. Just need to make sure that I did that before I sell the computer. Because if you sell it before actually getting some high-res photos of it, that is less than ideal. I've done that with one of them on accident. I was in the corner over here, so. Let's see. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm not going to have chat up on the monitor quite yet. Wish my ultra-wide I could have mounted, because that would have been useful. Because then I could have chat up as well as have the computer I'm working on, all that information up. I don't know where Mito is. Or Mito. They're probably asleep. I know it's late in their market. Might be selling this computer today. That'd be nice. Now, look at how dark the tint on this glass is. Really not a fan. You just can't see the computer anymore. Miranda, how are you? What are you up to? Having a good day, I hope? You working right now? Hello, Mark. Welcome back. How are you doing today? Yesterday, I had misplaced all my Windows USBs. Off camera, I found them all after I ordered 10 more Samsung Bar Plus 128 gig USB drives. I use those to install Windows on all my computers and everything. They're much better than the Micro Center ones I was using for quite a while. Last day before a full week off, very much needed. Yeah, I feel that. I actually just ordered a gimbal, so any of my YouTube shorts should be a bit smoother moving forward. And I'm going to try and use it for like walk-arounds of cars to get some B-roll that I can talk over. Because sometimes I have some thoughts that and stuff that I forget to mention. As you guys had seen, what with the Electrify Expo video that I'd done, where I needed to just pause because I didn't have any B-roll. A-roll versus B-roll. A-roll is when you're actively talking. It's just video of the subject you're talking about and you're narrating immediately. But B-roll would be more stuff that you're recording with no audio over it, and then you plan on adding like a voiceover after the fact. I am doing well. Kingston 16 gigabyte drive. Yeah. Hopefully you don't lose it now. Well, hey, as long as I don't wear out, as long as I don't rub off on you. You know what? I got a question. How does this one's front panel come off? I know the whole thing comes off if I pull on the bottom. So it's a plastic front panel, but it's got like a metal insert. Weird. I think that's because they use the same tooling for a glass insert, please. Is audio working okay for everyone, or are we having issues? I realized I didn't talk. That doesn't help at all. Okay. Yeah, no. I think it could have been, it's probably just your end, Father. Alright. Hopefully we're selling the computer today. Guy said he needs to get back to me after he cashes his check from work, so. And then, Miranda, correct me if I'm wrong, but I consider the price that I've got this at to be a very good price. It's an RTX 4080 with 12900K board and memory. Like, full system, okay? That one that we built on stream. I've got that listed for $2,000. Is that a good price? Is that a bad price? Please let me know. Because I'm having people try and offer like $1,600 all the time. That door? I mean, for the specs, it's 32 gigs of DDR5. It's got a 2 terabyte NVMe SSD. It's got a 1,000 watt power supply. It's got a liquid cooler on it. It's got everything it would quote unquote need to be a good system. So. The side of my finger is so itchy. Save this box. Yeah, I don't know, man. I had someone offer me $1,700 because he can get the same system with all brand new parts for $2,300, and I'm like, so you expect to save $600, 25%? It just doesn't make sense to me. And he said, "Oh, you can't put a thing on peace of mind." And I'm like, I have my own warranty, so that you have peace of mind. I don't know. Gonna get ready to start building the next one in just a split second. I just gotta send a picture or two off of this one. Anyone doing anything fun today? In case you guys didn't notice, I got a haircut. I got all the hairs cut. Okay. Hey, is Olaf just back now? Okay, let's see. Alright. I just need to send pictures over to the guy I said I'd get pictures of that previous build over to. Yeah, it can be suboptimal when they cut it way too short. You lost the power cord and controllers to your Xbox? No, Mito isn't watching. Subside, can you tell Olaf that you're here? Please and thank you. Alright. Man, having the flip is interesting. I don't really love it, but I don't have any issues with it. I think we've got that one that we built yesterday on stream just about ready to be sold. I got a question for you guys. Oh, Mito is back. Mito, rather. So, yes. So, I have a question for you guys. Would you rather I do a 3070 build with a Ryzen 5 5500 and we'll be done in 45 minutes to maybe an hour? Or do you want me to try and do something water-cooled? And with that water-cooled one, it won't be the graphics card that gets water-cooled. It would just be the processor. I don't actually even know if the... Let me look up real quick if the graphics card I'd be using even fits in that case. 1 second. You know, that's a minor compatibility thing. But I'm thinking of putting in an O11 dynamic. I'm thinking of putting a 4090 in an O11 dynamic. Yes, the Z Flip 5. $155mm. Okay. PNY 4090 dimensions. I do not have a 5600G, unfortunately. Let's look at pny.com. .06 in millimeters. Wait, that'll be length. I don't need length. Uh, 5.39. Inches to millimeters. 136. It looks like it should fit. The reflection on the outside of the Flip 5. What about it? Friend has a PC parts list. Can I send you one to try and build it with similar CPU and GPU? You just want to see what I can do? Or... yeah, sure. Can go ahead and link it in chat. I can see if I have similar parts on hand. I think I might. Well, I'm not gonna have anything other than 12900K in board or a 5600 or 5500 board and stuff at the moment. Sorry for continuing to look at my phone while we're streaming, guys. I am negotiating with some clients about potentially buying some of the systems you guys see built on here. So just try and bear with me on that. As I've mentioned before, all of my stuff, it's not necessarily build to order. I do a lot of build to order, but recently it's been mostly just build, list it, and build it, list it, and get it sold. Sure, if you drop it in the chat. Oh, I got it in, I see that. Give me one sec. Yeah, like a 5500 is very similar. I don't have any ATX boards, but what case are you guys putting this in? Alright, let's build as close to what he's getting as I can. Let's get rid of this super nice 12900K, and let's grab the Ryzen 5 5500. We'll build an NVIDIA system right now, since I need one of those listed. Got our RTX 3070, if you're a David fan. From David Does Tech Stuff. That's how he would have pronounced that. We've got ourselves a 1TB NVMe SSD. We've got some screws on the floor that I'm stepping on, so I'm going to grab those and throw those away. Here. I'm just going to throw away a lot of the excess screws that are here on the table. I have to do that so often, it's not even funny. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need this. Don't need this. I don't even know what you came from, but sure, we'll keep you for now. Mito, what case are you guys using? You know, it's a semi-important thing. Let me see what the other person said. Let's see. We're going to use a Fractal Define Focus 2. Let me make sure I don't just completely show everyone in the world my address. So let me get the labels messed up. Alright, let's see. Getting a lot of notifications. No, I can't. Awesome. Okay, I'll have to look up that one. I don't know that one off the top of my head. Okay, I've already taken your antenna out so I can add you to my growing tower of motherboard boxes. Grab our motherboard. Now grab a power supply and some memory. And then I've got everything. We've got the cooler in, and that comes with the processor itself. See, look, I've set it up all nice as if I'm getting like a thumbnail or something. Yeah, I don't know. In all honesty, I've got very similar ones to just about everything that's on there. I've got a slightly different board. I've got a slightly different 16 gig kit of RAM. I've got a slightly different model of 1 terabyte SSD. I've got a slightly different power supply, but those will be functionally the same. And then I have a 3070 instead of the 3060, and a 5500 instead of the 5600, and just a different case. Yeah, I mean, I'm running the iOS 17 beta on my iPhone that you guys are currently streaming from. It works perfectly fine. In fact, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really had any major issues. I'm running my watch on the watchOS 10 beta. I'm running my MacBook on the macOS, I think it's 14 beta. Something like that. Yeah, I'm running the beta software for all of Apple's hardware on my stuff. Works fine. This year, Apple changed the way that they do the betas. You can just decide, hey, yeah, I want any betas whenever they go live. And then, great, you're now on the beta update stream. You can decide to do public or developer betas. I, of course, do public, as I am not a developer. Having a secondary device for use with business, especially while streaming, yeah, so we've got our 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 installed. I've got a micro ATX board. Your board is going to be about this long by comparison, Mito. And then other than that, as far as installing a cooler, if you guys are using the stock cooler, which it looked like you were, you'll just go about opening up the box. You'll grab your processor, which will be in this little clamshell here, out. You'll also grab this black box. That's going to have your cooler itself. You can ignore any of the other stuff in there. So you see this little silver lever right here? I'll get a little closer so that you guys can see. So you guys can see, you see this lever here? When you're getting ready to put the processor in, you lift the lever up and that opens it up. There's a little triangle on the motherboard right here. Basically, you would hold, if you can, from the angle that you can read where it says socket AM4 right on there. You guys probably won't be able to see that. But if you hold your motherboard this way and then also set the processor this way so that you can read both where it says socket AM4 and what's written on the processor, that is going to line it up. Alternatively, there's a gold corner on the processor and there's a corner with a triangle on the board. Then you just take your processor out, hold it from the sides, be careful. I mean, you can touch the bottom, but just be very careful not to bend any of the pins. And then you just drop it in there. Then you open up your cooler box. This can wait a minute. You have to remove the 4 silver screws that are on that board that hold the black plastic clips in place. You will be removing those plastic clips, but you are going to want to leave the metal backplate on the motherboard still. Once you've removed those clips, you can keep them, put them in your motherboard box. In case you ever change coolers, you may need them again in the future. Otherwise, it's like $5 or $6 to get them on Amazon. Then you just take your AMD cooler, you line it up, these big screws on these sides themselves with that back plate, and then you start at one corner, go to the other, screw them all the way down. I mean, the Samsung SSDs are really good, if slightly overpriced. Basically, any SSD is going to work perfectly fine. Just read reviews, make sure it's not a scam. NVMe SSDs are really nice to have because if you have an M.2 port on your motherboard and you get an NVMe SSD, you could see multiple gigabit per second read and write speeds to that SSD, which would be really nice. All right. Next up, depending on your motherboard, it may have a pre-installed standoff. It may have a pre-installed M.2 NVMe screw. Speaking of SSDs, this one, the screw comes pre-installed on the board, so I'm just going to be unscrewing that, opening up our SSD, and then you take the gold contactors and you put that into the socket itself for the SSD. Now that is keyed. It's next to impossible to mess up. Sure, It theoretically is possible, but it's hard to do. Let me go look at something real quick. That is a good picture. Wow. I could totally crop that down and continue to use that picture. Thanks. I could totally continue to use that picture with new streams that I do in the future. I do appreciate that. Instead of it just being the generic picture of me going like this next to two cars. Now, I like to try and clean up as I go, because all of this stuff generates a large amount of plastic and everything. Do y'all want to see something crazy, though, real quick? I know the answer is yes, so I'm working on opening it. So you guys know how big some of the graphics cards can be. I mean, I showed you a couple earlier, yesterday and everything. Look at how giant this one is. This is a 4090, so it's definitely not going in the system that we're using right now, or that we're building right now, but that is just massive. So this is a smaller 4090 as well. There are some that are significantly larger than that. It's a little heavy. It's not too bad. I'm going to take this off the desk. That's our RTX 3070. I can get rid of our 5500 box. These plastic clips, like I said, I can set those off to the side. All right. Make a little bit of room on the table here for our case. Now, the case we're going with for this build is the Fractal Design Focus 2. It doesn't have a dedicated power supply basement. However, it does kind of cheat in that regard, where it has something extremely similar to a power supply basement, just built into the side panel of the case itself. No, it isn't quite as good as a dedicated power supply basement, but it's close enough that I've decided to give them a chance for how cheap these cases are. Last I saw, these cases were around 50 bucks, including shipping. Oh. Yeah, there are some 4090s that are bigger than Series X's by volume. I mean, admittedly, they do draw more power than a Series X, but still. They're not quite as large as as the PS5. The PS5 is large. So this is a black and white case. As I know you guys can clearly see. But yeah, so I'm going to throw the dust filter up top. Since we're not going to be installing a radiator or any fans at the top of this case, I might as well throw that on there now. You say that. Yet iPhone 14s are the same price. Which are the bread and butter of what I sell at my store. Like, sure, a 13 is a 14. Without a ultra wide. Yes, I do work for T-Mobile. I like it. It pays well. Puts food on the table. That's about the extent of it. I mean, yeah, older ones are gonna become cheap. But that's because they're not nearly as performant as they once were. Now, compared to yesterday's computer case, this one is a bit bigger, which is not a perfect fit for our motherboard that we've chosen. Oh, dude, my 12 had such poor battery. I got rid of that thing the instant that I could for a 14. Or for a 13, rather. I ended up with a 13 Pro. And I liked my 13 Pro. Battery life on it was great. The iPhone 14 Pro, though, the battery life, I'm always on it. So, like, that doesn't help. But I just have no battery life. I go through, at this point, I've got 90% original capacity, and I feel like I go through about a battery and a half every day. I do know we have one computer sale scheduled, or that will end up happening today, so I'm excited about that. That was the 6800 XT build that we did. 90% capacity in a 14 Pro. 5800 X3D for a 360. I just picked one up for a 300 plus tax recently. But, again, I live near a Micro Center. So that's just the going rate at Micro Center. 360 is not bad. Well, let's see what this person said. Yes, I used the flip a decent amount. I'm actually using it a lot more than I expected to. But you know what? I'm quite liking the having two phones thing on for this exact reason. For any time that I stream, it's very nice to have a second device so that I can go on Discord, I can go research something real quick, I can buy my Windows keys that I need, anything like that. This is the LTT screwdriver. Does it make the sound on all screws? So here's the thing. Most of the time, most screwdrivers ratchet I don't know. It's a ratcheting screwdriver. So it's yeah. So yes, it makes that noise for all screws. My girlfriend owns a Model Y. It is by far the most efficient EV that I've been in. So, but it is not the most. So the seats are very comfortable. The suspension is not so much. Now, admittedly, I do have to say we have a. One sec. The suspension definitely could use a little work, but we only have a 2020 model. They've revised the suspension a little later on. It's not the most comfortable of a ride. However, the seats themselves are extremely comfortable. So it's a bit of a mixed bag there. As far as so I've also owned an Ioniq 5. We've owned a Chevy Bolt EUV. I own the Genesis GV60, and this is actually our second Model Y that we've owned. So like we've owned a decent number of EVs. Mito. And we genuinely like EVs. Overall, yeah, the supercharging network's amazing. No, ours doesn't have Steam. That requires a refresh model that we don't have. Like I was saying, we have a slightly older model. Subside. I'm really liking my GV60. I have a couple of gripes with it that I'll detail at some point. Awesome. So that white build is going to go out the door for $1,875. Yes, so we liked the GV70. As I've mentioned, we had it as a loaner for a while. We put about 5,000 miles on it. The electrified GV70 was the one that we drove down to Myrtle Beach. We took on a long road trip, but the GV60 is my daily driver. The GV70 was a loaner vehicle. But, I mean, yeah. The GV70 was a loaner vehicle. We put 4,500 miles on it. We took it to Myrtle Beach and back. It's definitely a little... It rides a little softer, but is not as responsive. It's more of a luxury and less of a sport vehicle. All right. Motherboard's built in there. I am sorry for not doing that so you guys could see. That is my bad. I'm not going to use this power supply with a 3070. Let me grab one from over here. DZ3 is interesting, but it's not US market yet. Now, do notice I said yet. I don't know if it'll actually end up coming to the US market, but one can hope. Hopefully it'll charge better than the BZ4X. I do not like the Busy forks. I do not like the Subaru Solterra. I did not like the yoke in the RZ450E. It's what it is. It's all personal preference at that point, you know. So that's the big thing about the what's it called? The EV6. That's great. It looks like a sedan, but well, really the EV6 and the Toyota Crown are the same height with a hatch on the EV6. The EV6 GT, I don't know if you guys saw my Electrify Expo video, but holy crap, that thing is fast. That EV6 GT has more power than my GV60 Performance. And not necessarily by a small margin either. Yeah, I think it looks pretty great. It's definitely an interesting vehicle for sure. Come on. Oh, I got it. No, come on. There we go. There's the power supply screw point. So as you guys can see with this one, it doesn't have that normal power supply basement that you see in a majority of cases nowadays. And by that, I'll explain what I mean in just a split second. With most cases, you would have just a piece of metal right here under the board that goes like the length of the case or goes to like right here or whatever. That basically covers up the power supply and all the extra wires that come from it. Now, do you really need that? No. Do people like it? Yes. Did Fractal Design cut it to save money? Yes. As I said before, this is a budget case. And there are definitely times that it shows outwardly how budget this case is. That's one of the few. Okay, you get like an Accord or a Civic vibe from it. Interesting. Who do we got still hanging out with us in chat? I know we've got Mito probably. And Subside. I just like knowing who I'm chatting with. I'm going to actually put a splitter on the CPU fan header because the rest of the fan plugs are really annoying to get to in this motherboard. I know. I can see that on my end. I just like trying to drive engagement by talking to people. No, that's not a thing where it would be slower or faster. That's more something where it would be just different. Unless your program is using more than 64 gigs or more than 32 gigs of RAM, in which case, yes, it would slow down with a different amount of memory by comparison. Alright, we've got the motherboard plugged in. Now let's get the CPU header plugged in. Alright. Was just ironing out the final details on that sale for a little bit later today. This cable is through the other cable, so let's get that figured out. We've got to use these two power supply cables. So let's get those fed through. Okay, and let's get a SATA power cable fed through. Let's do this one since it only has 2 SATA plugs. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. I know we are here at PCs and EV. Any day that I get to just take off, stream, and work on what I love, which is computers, it's a good day. Awesome. Graphics card time. Well, that didn't take too long, did it, guys? From the start of the stream, we're still at 55 minutes, and considering I started after waiting like 15 minutes. Nice. Do you need a laptop for yourself? That's a dumb question. Why would you be looking at laptops if you didn't need a laptop? Is it a couple years old? Is it brand new? So we got ourselves an NVIDIA RTX 3070 from Asus. This is specifically their dual model, aptly named because it has 2 fans instead of more. Now I just got to remove the PCIe retention brackets, like so. Get the graphics card installed in there, and get her powered up. Ouch. That is expensive. Alright, getting the graphics card installed. We'll get it plugged in. We'll get the power supply cables at the bottom tidied up a bit. Well, that's annoying that it's disappointing and it scratches up easy. Especially if you guys put a bunch of money into it. Now, I will say buying storage directly from the manufacturer, unless it's soldered to the motherboard, soldered, soldered, whatever, is generally, yeah, I mean, it's Dell. Alright, let's get this rear panel placed on here. And then I gotta just tighten up some of the cables down there at the bottom. Okay, got the cabling tightened up. Let's go ahead and do our first power on. All right. So, what do we think? Yeah, I mean, these are RGB fans you can set. There's many options you can choose from for as far as colors and stuff. Yeah, I mean, let's look and see. Where's the channel I was in? There we are. Alright, got everything pulled back up properly. Gonna go ahead and get Windows activated. Or, not Windows activated, but... I don't want this USB. This is Windows 10. I don't want Windows 10. So let's quit. Quit. I want Windows 11 to go on this. So I just gotta wait for it to reboot. Then we'll install Windows. And the system's just about done. Man. I used to be able to build like 5 systems on stream. I know it's an exaggeration, but it felt like more than just one. I feel like I'm doing more entertaining than I am just building nowadays, though. Like, I'm chatting with you guys a lot more than I used to. Going over what I'm doing a lot more. Yeah, I mean, if Windows 12 actually ends up coming out, then I'll start using that moving forward. Obviously, it's still just rumored for now. So... every time I go on my Flip, there's updates to do. Like, there's every day just about there's app updates that I can do. What about your audio? No, I still have audio. Alright, let's try this. Just to see if I can hear anything. Let's try this. Yep. Yeah, my audio's still working. Weird. Okay. Huh. Did your earbuds die? Is that why you lost the audio? Is that what happened? No? Shift F10, OOBE/bypass NRO. They're on 70%, then, like, what's going on? Alright, let's take a look here real quick. I don't have internet, I swear. Don't worry. Come on, yes, I would like to do all of the things. Your laptop died. What? Alright. Well, that's a new one. Why am I yawning? Now you're stuck in a corner charging it. Alright, let's wait for this thing to update and everything. Yeah, we'll probably cut the stream here, guys. I appreciate you all sticking around, tuning in with me. Other than that, I mean, this is what I wanted to get done today, so I'm glad I got it done. I've got to double check and make sure a couple others are ready to go as well. But yeah, selling my 2 most expensive builds today. Oh crap, that means I should probably build more high-end ones here soon. Alright, well, that's what's next. I'll catch you all in the next one, and I'll see you guys around. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you like anytime you come across content of mine. If you comment, that does help it in the algorithm, and subscribing does as well. But the big thing that I've noticed, especially with YouTube Shorts, is it has a strict ratio of watch time, like watch percentage, as well as like percentage based on number of views. So if it has a lot of likes for very few number of views, very rapidly the algorithm will pick it up, shoot it up, until it's not proportionate anymore. But if it continues getting a ton of likes along the way, then it ends up doing really, really, really well. Like, I had a short that ended up getting like 75,000 views, and that was because it just kept getting a ton of likes. So, I appreciate everything you guys do, and I'll see you guys all around. Bye-bye.